very good afternoon, viewers. You're watching News X and I'm Kriti Mehta. We will start with our focus now on the Vikram-1 launch of Skyroot. Now, India has scripted, of course, yet another milestone in its journey to becoming a global space power. In a historic first, Hyderabad-based private space startup, Skyroot Aerospace, has successfully launched its Vikram orbit launch vehicle under Mission Aagaman, marking India's first ever successful private orbital space launch. This isn't just a win for one company, it's a defining moment for India's rapidly growing private space ecosystem. For decades, orbital launches were the domain of national space agencies, but today an Indian private company has demonstrated that innovation, ambition and indigenous technology can propel the country to a new era of commercial space flight. The mission is the result of years of engineering, testing and collaboration made possible by India's space sector reforms that opened the doors for private participation. From ISRO leading the way to startups now reaching orbit, India's space story has entered an exciting new chapter. We congratulate Team Skyroot. Mission Aagaman truly signals the arrival of a new age in Indian space exploration. And we've opened our phone lines for all the viewers who wish to congratulate Skyroot for this historic mission launch and its success to call us and send in their messages. We will take your messages live on News X. And now upon this milestone success, let's take a look at ISRO's upcoming projects. All right, these are of course our Gaganyauts, and Gaganyaan is the next ambitious space mission that India is looking at. India's human spacelift program, multiple uncrewed test flights leading to the first crewed orbital mission. This is Gaganyaan and our Gaganyauts. Then there's also Chandrayaan-4 that is planned for 2027, complex lunar sample return mission, which involves 4 modules to collect and bring moon surface samples. It is super important, remember. And Venus orbiter mission is planned for the year after that, which is 2028. Intraplanetary probe dedicated to studying the dense complex atmosphere of Venus. That's also something that we are looking at. And moving ahead, there's also a between 2028 and 29 lunar polar exploration mission, joint venture with Japan to explore the moon's South Pole region. Remember viewers, ISRO has already come up with some evidence to suggest that there may be subsurface ice on the lunar South Pole. And now there's also the Mangalyaan-2 or the Mars lander planned for 2030, second interplanetary journey to Mars equipped with atmospheric and surface exploration tools. So these are broadly what ISRO has planned and what India has planned for our space journey in the years ahead. Joining me now is Dr. Srijan Pal, a scientist himself. Thank you very much, Dr. Paul, for joining us here. Firstly, how would you reflect on India's space journey from the moment we started from taking our rockets on bicycles in 1962 to this day, when we have used modern technology, gone on an adventurous spree using those, we're having 3D printed rockets, Raman engines and blasting off from Sriharikota by a private unicorn in space.
Absolutely, what a wonderful day. And as I would say, it's a journey from bullock carts to billion-dollar ventures. So the journey, as you all, we have also these beautiful visuals of Dr. Kalam and his tribe of people back in those days carrying rocket parts and bicycles on bullock carts and so on. And those rocket parts began their journey in 1980. On this very day, on 18th July 1980, we launched successfully our first satellite by Indian technology into space, and that was a mission led by Dr. Kalam. And lo and behold, on the same day, decades later, a private sector company, which is now also a billion-dollar venture, it's a unicorn, as you said, has done this on a private money. It's very risky, doing it on a private sector is a far more difficult and a different journey than doing what ISRO had done. And nevertheless, salutations, of course, to Dr. Kalam and his team. And he's the one who's inspired a whole section of youngsters and as we call the Gen Zs, 18-year-old is the average age of Skyroot, a 28-year-old, sorry, which is basically a Gen Z. And we say Gen Zs are, all kinds of things we say, but this is the Gen Z which is carrying India into space through a private venture. What is interesting is that this is a unicorn, and there are 400 startups in India which work in space. They're all doing a great job. It's not just a success of Skyroot alone, it is a success of the vision which was set by the Prime Minister to take India, because India opened its space sector to private sector only in 2020, which is 6 years ago. And that vision is fructifying. What is also fructifying is that whole satellite companies which have come up. Look at the first satellite which this Vikram-1 took into orbit. It is called Embrace, which is a robotic arm which will take space debris, 30,000 space debris. There's all kinds of dirt, moving around the Earth, which is called space debris, the broken parts of satellites, and it will clean them up. That's a prototype, but this is the future of the company which is launching its satellite, Embrace. Prime Minister talked about Swachh Bharat. Our youngsters are doing Swachh Antariksh. So that is the kind of benevolent mission continues. When ISRO started, Dr. Kalam, I worked with him for many, many years till his very last day. And he used to say the idea of India going into space was the kalyan of the fisherman and the kisan, which is the farmer and the fisherman. Today also, when private sector Indians are going into space, their mission seems to be low-cost launches, affordable launches, and cleaning up space debris. So it's a beautiful saga of Indian values and Indian technology bringing together and taking us successfully into space. So congratulations to Skyroot, congratulations to the team, and congratulations to all the other people who have been involved in it, and also to ISRO, which has enabled this private sector to come up in such a short span of time.
Right. Dr. Singh, now what's more important is what lies ahead. After the successful launch, it's only a beginning. We have a long way to go still when we are talking and comparing ourselves with companies like Blue Origin and SpaceX. How important and how easily can technology be transferred? How can we boost this scientific mindset in the coming generation? And what role do you think both public and private sector can play here coming together?
Right. So let me begin with the last part of the question. What role can public and private sector of India play here? There are two things which go into taking a mission into space. Manpower, which is human talent, and investments, which is money. Now, with this mission success, and in the very first attempt, by the way, success, which is phenomenal. I mean, not even Elon Musk was successful in the first attempt. It took a series of failures before Falcon happened.
Yeah.
Now, this is successful in the very first attempt. This will inspire a whole generation of youngsters in schools and colleges to take up similar risky missions. Space is risky. There's no doubt about that. If you venture into space, your venture is a risky venture. So a lot of people would do that. Remember that these two founders, the co-founders of Skyroot, were both ISRO scientists, young, must have been back then in their late 20s or early 30s. And they gave up their secure government job in 2018 when the sector of space in India was not open to private participation. It happened in 2020, I told you. For 2 years, they took a bet. So I think taking that bet, that leap of faith, is the ignited mind which Dr. Kalam used to talk about, the ignited mind of the youth. The second part which you needed in this is investment. That is where I think we need to change a bit. Even if you look at Skyroot, and if I just Google the data, out of $116 million of investments, 15 million is Indian, and the remaining 145 million is foreign investment. So it seems like foreign investors have more trust in our young people than we have trust in them.
Yes.
I think that has to change. We have to put money in our young people and their young ideas.
Yeah.
And that is so phenomenal. That's one lesson for me. And where does it go ahead? Well, it's a fantastic launch. A lot of people said, oh, it's too small. It's not. It's very useful. In space, there's no such concept of a small rocket and a big rocket. As long as it goes into the orbital mission, it goes into the low Earth orbit, it is a success. A small rocket is cheap, and now you can book a whole rocket. So it's like a cab. But whereas the mega launches like GSLV and PSLV is like a train. So you can put a lot of satellites, 100 satellites with one GSLV launch. But even with this Vikram-1 launch, you can put smaller number of satellites. So the business is there. The Indian space sector right now is valued between $8 to $9 billion, which is 80 to 90,000 crore. By 2023, it will reach about $44 billion, which is 4.5 lakh crore rupees. So it's a huge growth path and there's huge opportunity. And I'm not just talking about Indian space. the global space market is even bigger, manyfold. So that's where we are. Very promising, very lucrative for the nation. And just like IT sector did so wonderful things in 2000s, I believe the space sector will do so many wonderful things in the next 1 decade.
And India is ready for it. Dr. Singh, thank you very much for joining us and for speaking to us on this. And we move ahead now to some other updates coming in. Now, according to Delhi police sources, the